Hello everyone, welcome back, welcome here at the book show. And today, without wasting time, I want to speak about codename July 27. Now, you might ask, of course, where does that name come from? It is, as I explained to you in many books, the book names actually have nothing to do with the contents of a book. It's a code. I mean, that's how it is. It's in the military like that as well. Unless you know the code, you won't know what people are talking about. So that's how I did it, and as you know, it normally refers to either my late wife or somebody I want to honor in some way, like 1 Alpha or Vet 101, or it refers to a specific code, BFO 565, which was the activation code for the sleeper agents, or and mostly it was referring to my late wife Melissa. So you'll have something like Mesa 72 or Mel's Choice, or these type of things. And then, of course, came Rebecca. Rebecca came onto the scene, and I started honoring Rebecca. So you would have Rebecca 65, you would have Swan 53, you would have Love 72, all with code names in front. And then you have this one, code name July 27. Okay, so where does the name come from? Is, well, man, that's the day we met. July the 27th, 2018. It was a great day in our lives. And for me, yeah, it changed my life. I have to say it. I fell in love the moment I saw her, and I'm still in love. And whenever I see her or hear her, yeah, I smile, because we paid very, very dearly to get together, to be one. I can tell you, both of us lost loved ones along the way, and so we paid a price. Rebecca always say that if you are 50 years old, and we're older than that, of course, then you've got a story to tell. That's very true. You've seen a bit of life, and then there's wisdom in age, which is why in Africa we respect grey hair. But so I used that name July 27. So that's the code. So what's it actually about? Well, now we have basically three people inside the book, which is always there. It would be Angelique Dawson, who's the spy master. I once called the real one a spy mistress, which I suppose is technically correct, but she did not react well to that. No. Apparently, a mistress is something which, yeah. Let me not repeat the words. It was a bit. Yeah. She could get sometimes a bit otherwise. But anyway, so she's the spy master. She's in command of everyone. She is the head of counter-terrorism as well as the head of counter-espionage, which is a bit weird because the two groups don't mix. They don't like each other. And what we've seen in MI6 is when they found out about Tim Philby and the Cambridge 4, Birch's aunt, and, back in the 1950s, 60s, they actually brought somebody from MI5 over to take command of MI6. If you wanted to screw up MI6 or James Bond, Secret Intelligence Service, whatever they call themselves, that was the perfect way to do it. Because there is no way that the MI5 officer can command the spies. He just can't. He doesn't have a personality, he doesn't have a respect. And it is as stupid a system as you have, where, especially in the US, where you would get a political appointee being appointed to head the CIA, or you get some retired general or something from the Army or Air Force or Admiral, and he suddenly becomes the head of a CIA. I guess it's a stupid system. It doesn't work. Why do I tell that to you? Because in the first place, there'll be resentment. Secondly, it's a different outlook. It is not the same. Military intelligence is not the same as, let's call it, civilian intelligence. And really, being a military officer does not qualify you to be a good spy. In fact, you'll be a pathetic spy most of the time. You'll be a target of spies. Yes, we'll get you, especially in Africa, because you can't keep your pants up, you have to get your little prick out to, to do whatever little boy or girl we arranged for you. Yeah, then we take pictures. Yeah, great pictures actually, 4K. Yeah, then we start talking to you over a cup of tea. But to be honest with you, we're not that interested in general officers. We can just read their Facebook pages. We'll know what they're up to. Yeah, they actually have Facebook pages which really, this is true, guys. They post everything what the general is doing. Oh my word. Have you ever heard of security or off security? Does that mean something to you? Huh? No, probably not. No, we're actually interested in field grade or lower officers and your warrant officers and your senior non-coms. Why? Because these people are the ones who are deployed. These are normally the ones who need money. They are also the ones who sometimes are angry, they are dissatisfied. They are dissatisfied because they felt perhaps they were not promoted or something happened or whatever. Yeah, they good targets for us. And so the moment that they get deployed, we know, well, the rest are going to deploy as well. Okay, where are you deploying to? Oh, the staff, man. Where? Where? For how long? Yeah, that's bad, that's bad. Hey, man, do you need help? Can we help you in some way, you become friends with him, you talk to him. Yeah, that's how you recruit people. You be nice. That guy likes Queen Elizabeth and he likes Liverpool. Well, what a wonderful woman this is. You know what? I saw that match of Liverpool the other day. Man, it is. Oh, what? Tell me, what's your impressions? What? There you go. That's how you recruit people. See? Yeah, that's how you do it. If that doesn't work, well, then there's always, I'm sure your wife doesn't want to see this. I mean, you've got a good marriage, man. And it will screw up your career as well. But I tell you what, it's important for us that you actually succeed in your career. And we're not asking you for anything secret. We just need warning, We just need to know. Just help us out here, man. And you know what? We'll make it worth your while. Yeah, we'll even pay you. Uh, 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 uh. And if that doesn't work, what do we do? Get a guy who speaks like a real Englishman. Hey, I say, old chap. And then, then you have the Emily case which I've described to you before, where you think you're working for MI6. It's not that bad. But in actual fact, you're working for us, and then indirectly you're working for the Chinese or the Russians. And lastly, of course, you just do it the American way. Okay, guys, let me show you something to you. See this briefcase? It's full of US dollars. Right? You can have it. You can walk away with it. But you have to sign for it. The moment you sign for it, you're dead. The moment you take that money, they're taking pictures of you. You're dead. Okay, here's your money. And that's what they do. And that's what they did after 9/11. They just stormed into places like Afghanistan, Pakistan, across Africa, and they were just hunting and they were just spreading money. They were throwing money like confetti. And they screwed up the entire great game for everybody because no one else had that kind of money. And then it started exploding, as we said to them. We said, guys, it's not going to work. Stop this nonsense. It's not going to work. You're going to get people who lie to you and you won't be able to cross-check them. And what's going to happen now is they're going to inflate themselves. They're going to give you false information and the enemy is going to infiltrate you now. No, of course not. No, what do you know? No. Anyway, so that's exactly what happened. That's why you lost the war on terror. And you're going to lose the next wars as well, whatever. So anyway, so in this book, Angelique Dawson, she's there. Later husband, a bodyguard, chief agent, if you want to call him like that, but he's more like a bodyguard and advisor. Guy called Foxtrot. We, as I say, they later get married. They have twins, Liz and Odette. He's there also because wherever Angelique is, he would be. And wherever he is, his mate Fieldslang would be. That is Fieldslang Peter and Ndebele. Both of them are former Special Forces officers. Both of them know there's something wrong with Angelique Dawson. Hillsong is very suspicious because he's your ultra professional guy. He's the one who's doing things by the book, and that's it. Even though he would take chances, there's no doubt about it. He's much more willing to take chances than say Foxtrot, who would keep him back. But they started off with the greatest of friends. Foxtrot was a platoon commander. Then Hillsong arrived at Special Forces and became a platoon sergeant. Later he took over the platoon, and Foxtrot became a company commander when there was an exercise with Army Special Forces. And so what happened was they captured what the British Army called the Green Slime. We have other words for him. Intelligence officer from the Army, and they captured him and made him explain his ways of life, which of course went a bit too far, and the guy laid charges against him from attempted murder to assault to all sorts of things, and they had to disappear. So they went into the ranks of Army Special Forces from Police Special Forces, where they made a great name for themselves, I have to say, in the books anyway. As I always say to you, these books are actually based upon real people, and they're also based upon either training scenarios or real operations. And whatever the characters have to say, you can take for granted and you can listen to it. I know, for instance, in this book, in the last pages, I explained to you how sweet milk, if you heat up milk, then you add some sugar, is the perfect way to kill an elderly person. Yeah. Want to get rid of an old crocodile, your mother-in-law? Yeah, all you do is just feed her every night. Just give her some glass of hot milk with sugar in it. Look, I don't really want you to do it, okay? So if you have an elderly crocodile, you have a mother-in-law, please don't take that. It can kill you. It's a well-known method of killing people, right? Okay. So anyway, so very close to Beira Harbour. That's in the northern part of Mozambique. They're right close to Tanzania, I suppose. Been there many times. And she wants to raid this place. She wants to destroy a warehouse, which is filled with things which she considered to be dangerous. And of course, with Angelique, there's always something else going on, and that's why the Israeli Mossad girls are there, Rebecca's, who's got nothing to do with my wife, Rebecca. I just want to say that. Because there are some people who find it a bit strange that my wife is also called Rebecca, and we have all these Rebecca agents, the triplets, inside the book. So I wrote it like that before I met Rebecca, man. Perhaps it was a sign. It was a sign, yeah. But don't involve her in this world. She's got nothing to do with it. And, well, you have to read the book to understand what exactly she's trying to do, but it has to do with the United Nations. You know, that evil organization, that satanic organization. That one we actually have prayer rooms, which is built in the same way as a Freemasonry. Yeah, it is in some of my books. Yeah. The ones who, when they started off, copied the Constitution of who? The US. As their own constitution. Yeah. No, idiot. They used the one of the Soviet Union. Yeah, that's what they did. Yeah, I don't like the United Nations. I must tell you, I stood outside it in Geneva looking at it, and I thought to myself, oh, what a shithole. When you look at the people walking around, they're feeling so proud. It's amazing that the US actually pays about, what 70% of all the UN bills. Do you know that when they started over, we were not supposed to get paid more than 10% more than what a US State Department person would get? How many times more do they get now? Many times, yes. What happened to the UN when they decided to take over the countries, to run countries? Yeah, no, they screwed it up so badly you wouldn't believe. Yeah, no, they just effed up. What happened in Katanga? Well, you have to go and read, what's it, Code Name Dawn? That is where, after Doc Hammarskjöld died, who was the last Christian fellow up to a point, actually in command of the UN. Yes, he wasn't murdered. Read the book, he wasn't murdered. And when Doc Hammarskjöld died, suddenly the UN changed. When they started saying, well, perhaps we should use force, Yes, our constitution say we're not allowed to intervene in a country's internal policies. No, no, we don't do that. Yeah, yeah, of course you do, you assholes. That's exactly what they do. And so they started intervening in the Congo's uh, internal activities in Katanga, which was a Christian-orientated Western state. What happened? Oh, yeah, the Indian Air Force, they arrived there, I think, two Canberras, and there was other people there, I think Sweden. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They became great fighter pilots there. Shame. Stop. Yeah, yeah, they were there too, flying Saabs or something. Yeah, yeah. And they started bombing Red Cross hospitals. Yeah, yeah, or at least hospitals which were marked very clearly with the Red Cross. Yeah, yeah. That was the first bombing run of the United Nations Air Force. Read Codename Dawn, you'll find out. Oh, I reveal a lot more about the UN. I must tell you. Yeah, yeah. But the UN has a purpose, and the purpose is to control the slaves. Because the Security Council, which is the 5 nations, I don't know why the Britain is there, I don't know why France is there, I don't know. They're not powerful enough to be there, they shouldn't be there, but they are there. And of course, you have the US, Britain, and France always voting the same way, and you have Russia and, well, in the old days, the Soviet Union, Russia now, today. Yes, yes, not a communist state anymore, it's actually a Christian nation, unlike the US, who's a second beast. And China, communist China, yeah, yeah. And of course, you split the world into two. The Cold War is still continuing. It actually is now at the second stage. But anyway, I'm just mentioning these things for you because right inside that warehouse he wants to destroy are actually UN food. Hmm. Why would Angelique Dawson, the spy master, decide she wants to destroy UN food? Why? Why do you think she would do that? Now, you have to read the book to know why, but I'll go into great detail on exactly how the UN is murdering Africans. Ah, really? Yeah, yeah. Let me explain it to you. Most African people, by which I mean black, are actually lactose intolerant. In other words, they don't like milk, cow milk especially. It's not good for them. It's not good for them. And cow milk is very bad for you too, unless of course you want to murder your crocodile, your mother-in-law. Yes, it is not something you should actually drink. There's an entire series out on it. I'll leave a link for you if I can find it. It's a guy called Professor Dr. Walter Weiff. And he started doing experiments and he started looking at what cow milk can actually do to your body. And dairy farmers almost killed him. But what came out, it will cause serious problems in your bone structure. Yes. It will also make you extremely stupid. Yeah, yeah. Feed your baby cow milk. Yeah, it'll grow. It'll be big, man. It'll be big. But it'll be stupid. Because, it does nothing for his brain cells. Hello? Hello? Are you a cow? I'm just asking you here. Huh? You're a very clever cow if you understand my English accent. I mean, I have to. But the fact is, guys, your body isn't really designed to drink milk. So go and see this guy where he actually speaks about this and what came out in his experiments. It's fantastic. You will never touch cow again, cow milk, and you will definitely not eat cheese. It is not fit for human consumption anyway. Right, so I'll give you a very interesting tip. So what she finds in this warehouse is boxes and boxes full of these milk-orientated baby stock, baby food. So what do they do? What does the UN do? Whenever there's something happening in Africa, and they start flying in their assistance, and they start dropping it by parachute, they feed these African children's babies, whatever, cow-derived products. Go and talk to these doctors without borders and other medics who's working there. I will say to you, within days, these children are ill, even more ill than normal. They are so, it's horrible. You actually have to open them up, but they can do a number two. You actually have to open them with your finger so that they can, that it can come out. That's how bloated they get. So, do you think the UN is unaware of this? Hmm? No, no, we're not unaware of this. Of course not. They know it. And they don't give a shite. Why? Because it's just Africans, man. Who cares? Yeah, that's racist, by the way. That's racist. Anyway, so that's one of the reasons why she's eating this warehouse and blowing it up. But there's also other things in the warehouse which she actually steals. Well, confiscate. It's such a horrible word to steal. But that I'm not going to explain to you. You can find out yourself. If you read the book, it's quite a long book. It's 458 pages. So there's a lot of things I can't cover in my short notes to you. And I just want to show you something, by the way. I've been speaking. There's still about two or four books left. These are my notes. Yeah. This is what happens when you have to speak about 60 books. Yeah. These are all the notes. Man, I went through ink like you can't believe. I have to sell quite a few books just to get the damn ink back. Okay, the other thing we look at in this book is how to conduct a raid like this, where you actually come from the water, from the ocean side. Beira is ocean city, and you come from the water, and then you can attack a warehouse or whatever you want to attack, and you come out again. So I describe in great detail how you would do such a thing. And in actual fact, South African Special Forces did do it quite a few times. We think of Operation Kerslig, which is in English is Candlelight, 1981. It was done on an oil refinery north of Luanda, and also Operation Nobilis, where we actually sank two merchant vessels right inside Luanda Harbour. If you're interested in this, there are actually videos on Legacy Conversations where the actual operators speak about that and how it worked and what happened. And the funny thing about this is that Legacy Conversations, the main channel where we speak to veterans, that came long after I wrote the books. And quite often I would sit there and I would listen to these guys talking, and they're fantastic people. And I knew a lot of them, of course, from before. And they would open up and they would start talking, and virtually everything which I said in the books got confirmed. I'm very proud of that, and I bloody well should be. Which shows to you that the books are realistic in the extreme sense of the word. Now, during these two operations, Kerslig and was alright, and then Nobilis was also okay. But during Kerslig, things happened. Something went wrong with the explosives. And there was quite a bit of a story between the Special Forces members and the guys who actually designed the explosives. And they do speak about this on Legacy as well. And I write quite a bit about it in this book. So you have to read it to know what went wrong. Why did the explosives go off? Because they were planting the explosives there at the oil refinery, and the next moment it just went off. So something went wrong with the design of the explosives. The scientists, of course, says no. They said they think the deceased actually did something wrong, and that's why the explosives went off. Anyway, to make a long story short, it did go off. One guy died. One got blinded. Another one was seriously injured. And two of the men who actually speak on Legacy Conversation, Frans Fourie and Jack Greef. They telling their stories on Legacy Conversations, and they were telling how they went back. How they went into this burning oil refinery to bring the men out. It's a fantastic story. But anyway, the book touches upon that, and it explains also another raid to explain to you how this works and how it doesn't work and how it will be done. So there were many lessons learned here and implemented. And then we started looking at something which is really, really important. And that is a question: can you actually disguise a C-130 or a big aircraft with lights? Is it possible to hide it? So we look at that, and in fact in history it did happen. The US had a system called Jehudi or something, which they called during World War II. Yeah, I suppose it's like a cloak. They use lights to dazzle you. Now, I'm not very impressed with it because what will happen is if I take a powerful flashlight and I start flashing it into your eyes, especially if it starts flickering, yes, I'm going to blind you. But you still know I'm blinding you. You know I'm there. So in other words, you'll be able to, well, you won't be able to retaliate because you'll be dead by the time that you think you can retaliate. I describe that in another book as well, that specific method. But that was the entire idea behind it, is to see that you can use light energy, in other words, to cloak your own aircraft. Now, that's the old way. That was during World War II. But the Russians apparently in 2019, we admitted they have something called a 5P slash 42 Filin, which is Russian for eagle or owl. And they also have like a strobe type of thing on their ships, which will cause hallucinations and also blinding you. It might also, of course, cause seizures. So we have these things on their navies, different navy ships, and does it work? Yes, people say it does actually work. At least 45% of the people who were exposed to it felt nauseous and dizzy and disorientated afterwards. Um, we don't know much more about it. I just mentioned it in the book because the Russians are extremely secretive with this type of thing. But I do describe to you in other books also there is a stun grenade which works in the same way, which instead of exploding and making, two explosions, doom, doom, and then disorientating people, blinding them with a flash of bright light, you can throw it right next to a guy's head and you might even injure him. But it might be based upon that. So they have something like that which the West doesn't have, not even close. So in the book, the pilots decide they want to see if they can hide this C-150, which is a J model. So in other words, it's one of the newest C-150s. It's not the old Hercules because that one got absolutely seriously damaged in another book, GSSB-40. I like to bring in these aircraft and things in the books simply because it exposes you to it. Now, again, if you go to legacy conversations, many of the aircraft which is featured in these books are actually there also, where I have pilots standing next to them and we have a walk through them or around them, wherever we could get access. So if you look around you might find some of these videos on Legacy Conversation actually speaking about these aircraft. Obviously not a C-130J, simply because we don't have one available to do it. I was making a few inquiries about it, but it's still sort of, I wouldn't say the secret list, but we won't just allow a YouTube channel to go and do this, especially not if you're a South African. There's actually South African museums who will not allow us to actually record with them because they say we need intelligence clearance, which is, I just don't get that. I really don't get it. Anyway, so we looked in the book at Yehudi. That's the system which the US tried out. And because of this thing, it's like a cloak, which comes around it to make the aircraft disappear. They start talking about Star Trek. Now, I'm not a Star Trek fan at all. I don't watch Star Trek. I don't give a whatever about Star Trek. But my late wife, Melissa, was a great Star Trek fan. In fact, she was a Star Trek, what do you call these people? She would actually dress like a Star Trek person and attend all these meetings and things and so forth, which was actually quite weird. But anyway, just some trivia which people might not know is that it is apparently in Star Trek where the first kiss took place between mixed races. In other words, between a white man and a black woman. In one of the episodes in 1968 called Plato's children, or Plato's stepchildren. And that's where the kiss actually takes place. And it attracted enormous attention because in those days, apartheid was alive and well in the US, especially down south. Some of you, I'm sure, will tell me he's still alive there. I don't know. Don't want to get involved with that. And they say that was the first time on TV, on national TV, that happened. But there are some people who say no. There was 1967. There was a kiss between Nancy Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. And that was an episode between moving with Nancy. But I don't know if that was like a romantic type of kiss or just a hello. I don't know. One thing which Rebecca, my wife, will tell you is South Africans are a bit weird. They do kiss to say hello. So what I would say is, you don't kiss my wife. End of story. So I don't want to be kissed by you. Be kissed by me and me alone. Yeah. See, I got married. Married to her. That's why. Yeah. So, so you get that. So it's all a cultural thing, I suppose. Anyway, that's a story about Star Trek. Exactly how this C-130 thing works, I described in the book. I know they did some experiments with it on the old one as well. It's not totally unknown to use devices like that. Some people try to use almost like a TV, which they take a live picture which is broadcasted all the time. And so it looks like trees or whatever flashing, and you see that and you don't see the vehicle. It's total crap, man. It won't work. It won't work. Radar will pick it up. There's other optical things we use, which will also pick it up. So, it's just crap. But if it can work, then of course, why not? Why not? They have all sorts of fancy names for it as well. Light adaptive active camouflage. That's the one way they describe it, but it doesn't really work. But anyway, the UED type, I just want to say, they did test it on B-24 Liberators, as well as Avenger torpedo bombers, and the Navy glide bomb between 1943 and 45. But here they were using lights. They were flashing lights at the observer, and by doing that, they were blinding him. So it's not the skin of an aircraft or the skin of a ship or the skin of your uniform or whatever. Whenever you wear a camouflage jacket and you camouflage yourself, it's the same idea, but it's passive. These things tend to be more active. But read the book. It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. Then the other thing which came out in the book is that we started looking at marksmanship. In other words, how good shots are the US Army. Now, knowing me, of course, you will know that I'm not impressed with the US Army. No, bunch of fatties. Cannot fight. Easy to panic. Very bad soldiers. No discipline. They rape their own. Yeah, all these things come out in the books. I don't even want to go into it. All of you who listened to me before, read my books, will know I expose them all the time. I even wrote a book called Voices, War Crimes USA. It is pathetic. It is really bad for me to see that, because we used to think of you with great respect and pride, and we fought together, of course, in many wars. I think World War One, World War Two, Korea. Yeah, we fought. We even South African pilots who died in Vietnam flying for the US. Yeah. So even today, we will find a lot of South African youngsters in the US Army or NATO militaries fighting all your wars for you. Especially in the French Foreign Legion, there's a lot of South Africans there, as well as the British Army. Funny enough, it is totally Australian Army as well. You find it's actually illegal to do that, because the new government in South Africa says they got something called the Mercenary Act, where they say it's fine, you can join Al Qaeda, you can join Hamas, Hezbollah, all those things. Do not join NATO. Why? Because they say it's fine to join a freedom movement. That's where they come from, man. The freedom movements, and and so they see that as something honorable, and they see service in the US Army or British Army or That I agree with the Brits, as well as Foreign Legion, that type of thing. They see that as dishonorable. And there's mercenary activities, Israeli army, obviously, mercenary activities. So if they catch you with, you've done that, it's a matter of time before they're going to start making arrests. So anyway, we found out that the average, but now fully trained, it's like a trained guy, the US Army infantryman, he will hit a man-sized target at 328 yards, which is quite far because most of the contacts are right here, it's close to you, it's almost no fights. But there he will hit him at 328 yards, he will hit that target anywhere on the target. He will hit that 10% of the time. Hello. Yeah. So you miss 90% of the time you're going to miss your target. Oh, shit. That is with your fancy optical sights. I'm sorry that I'm laughing, guys. But I have a vision here of my old sergeant and even myself standing there at the shooting range and seeing that. Oh my word. Oh my word. You will find out what is a sandbag and what it means to waste ammunition, and you will not shoot that badly ever again in your life because, you know, I'm not being horrible when I say this, but God will have no mercy on you and will actually applaud us in getting you to shoot straight. Yeah, we're not impressed with that. We think that is below whatever you think is acceptable. It is pathetic. Okay, so let's look at your trained sniper thing. Yeah. Now it gets interesting. US Army Sniper School. They must achieve a 90% chance of a first round hit at 656 yards. Now that is using the M24 sniper weapon system, which is a proper rifle in the 7.62 NATO round with a telescope on it as well. Also, they come out in a .338 LAPA round. And so, right, so what we're saying here is at 656 yards, which is so-so. For snipers, it's average, extremely average in range. And there you have a 90% chance that you're going to hit the target. Now again, guys, please listen to my words. I never use words without thinking about it. Might look like to you like that, but it's not. So if I say to you, hit the target, I mean anywhere on the target. In other words, there's a man-sized target at that range, just hit it anywhere, don't care, in the left knee, through the chest, through the arm, through whatever, just hit it. Guys, that's shite. That's bad shooting. That's pathetic. That's pathetic shooting. You know what I want? You know what's my way of doing things? I'll walk to somebody like Lucy the lunatic, or Lucy Lucifer as she was once known, the sniper girl, the one I talk about often in the books, my friend. Yeah, she might even be on Legacy Conversations. What do you know? And she and the other snipers at that range will say to me, Chris, left eye, right eye, between the eyes, throat. Tell me, where do you want me to put that bullet? Yeah, that's what I want to hear. And I don't only want to hear that while we're lying there and it's nice, it's a nice day, we just had a cup of tea, and that, no. First I take you on a route march of about 35 kilometers and lead you around. While you're carrying quite a bit of load, at least 55 kilograms, what's that, 110 pounds? 115 pounds? Yeah. Want you to carry that. Why? Because if you have like an anti-material rifle, it's flipping heavy, like a 20 millimeter. It's actually in two parts. There's two of you just to carry the damn thing. It's not practical. If you have something like a 5.0 Barrett or a Trevellos, which we actually believe in, read. Go and see what I say in Codename Butterfly, the sniper book, where we really go into detail with this. I want to see you do this at all stages of tiredness, in all conditions, nighttime, daytime, sun in your eyes, whatever. I don't care. No. One bullet, one dead terrorist. I want to know what's wrong with you. Yeah, that's my standard. Do you think I'm unfair? Do you think I'm too hard? No, no, no. This is our standard. End of story. This is what I expect, and this is what they expect from me too. Not that I'm a sniper. I can spot for you, but I'm not that good. I know it. Point is, guys, that is the standard to achieve, and it can be achieved. And it is achieved at other places. Do you realize? Let me give you another example. Read codename Unbutton. Yeah, that will work, as well as Snake 606, where we speak about Chinese intelligence, Chinese military, Chinese special forces. Yeah, it's something which you know nothing about. Right, most of you. So, if I say most of you, I'm talking about the intelligence officers who's actually listening here, because I know they do. Just read the books, man. That's all you need to do. You don't need to waste your time listening here. I'm sure you just get angry. So anyway, to make a long story short, you have like what is called special forces competitions. Yeah, that's where you get the different units from different parts of the world. And then they get together at a certain country and they do the special forces things. It will include shooting, house penetration, route marches, rescuing people, things like that, you know. And they do that because it's legal spying, you know. You want to see how good they are. And you want to see if there's perhaps a female there between them because, yeah, there are a lot of female special forces members in the world, not in South Africa officially. Note what I said, officially. But yeah, we know about them and we are highly respected. In fact, you read the GMJ books, you'll find out that most of the teams are actually commanded by females. Yeah, females. And they flippin' good. They're scary. But they good, man. And to make a long story short, China is actually winning. Chinese special forces win every damn competition. And when they lose, let's say they come second or third or whatever, next year they come back and they win. Why? Because they look at themselves and they say, okay, we can improve. We're not exceptional like some of you, you know. You're so exceptional that you haven't won a war in how long? When last did you, Americans, when last did you win a war? You didn't win World War II, by the way. Daddy Trump is wrong. No, you didn't win it. I'm not going to explain to you again where the fighting was taking place. Eastern Front, hello, Soviet Union. Wake up. What about the First World War? No, you came too late. Well, perhaps you won in Korea. No, the war's still going on. Vietnam, no, you ran away. Afghanistan, no, you ran away. Iraq, the first one, well, it wasn't really a war, was it? Okay, Iraq, the second one, no, you ran away. Oi. What about Spain? You know, when you stole the Philippines and Cuba? Yeah, when you staged the USS Maine incident? Yeah, that one, that false flag, yeah. Yeah, perhaps that's last when you won, 120 years ago. You know, perhaps you should actually up your standards. That's perhaps what you should do. I'm saying these things not to annoy you. I'm saying these things for you so that you can wake up. Because you would say things like, yeah, you know what, the snipers competitions, you know, we don't win because we're operational, man. We don't have time for this. So this is like fancy drilling. You know, the fact that somebody looks smart on parade doesn't make him a good soldier. We have to understand, we are experienced. No, you have no experience. No, you're experienced in fucking up. That's all you are. No. I can show you the statements here from what Africa commanded in sub-Saharan Africa. Now the terrorism incidents has just skyrocketed since you arrived. Why? Because you kill the wrong people. You have no clue about fire discipline. You have no clue. You have no clue about using your espionage services because you don't have them during your operations. You just F him up. It's amazing. It's amazing when you run for home and you get another medal and Everybody's impressed, but we are not impressed. We're not the least impressed with you. Now, I expect a sniper to actually shoot at 1,000 yards. I expect him to hit the target in the head every single time, and I expect him to pull the trigger. If I ever get the feeling that you're going to have us, in Hollywood. Oh yeah, Hollywood. You should really read my books because in Hollywood it's actually quite famous for working with the U.S. military. They always did. They actually have offices in Hollywood where you can rent or get hold of, say, a U.S. battleship or aircraft carrier or whatever, like Top Gun. CIA paid for it. Yeah, as long as you follow the script. In other words, if you say anything where like, well, perhaps, we're killing the wrong people. Whoop, we're not working with you. No. Of course, then, okay. Then you have to use this computer graphics and whatever, CGI, whatever. But whenever you see a movie and there's a lot of genuine and authentic type of US military involved, it's on a military base, you see an aircraft carrier, you see a lot of airplanes, it's paid by the CIA, approved by the Pentagon. Yeah. So what are you looking at? Propaganda, sir. Yeah, that's what you're looking at. It's propaganda. But you see often in Hollywood, and by the way, Hollywood is controlled by who? The Jews. No, not the Jews. Who's controlling the Jews? Oh, that would be the Jesuit order, that one of the Catholic Church. The Society of Jesus. But it ain't Jesus who you know. No, this is a different Jesus. Yeah, that order, it was created by Loyola, I think in 1539. Why? Martin Luther, Reformation, Protestantism. Yeah, they were created to destroy it. Did they? Well, yeah, they're winning. There's now, what, 37,000 different nominations in Protestantism. How many are in the Catholics? There's one. Of course, the Catholic Church, that's split into two. The Orthodox, which is now in Russia, they went their way. Constantinople, they more the original one, and then came a one of Satan. The first beast in the Bible, Catholic system. Not to say the Catholic, some of them, yes, a lot of them. All Jesuits anyway. Pope too, Antichrist. What does the Bible say? First beast, terrible beast, will rule for 1260 years, will get a wound, a little horn. Read Oath of Evil, you'll Oath of Evil, read that book, get hold of it. See what I'm saying to you now, if it's true or not. I assure you it actually is. But the fact of the matter is, many times in Hollywood, you have a scene where there's a sniper, got a Marine haircut. And then you always have a problem in life, he doesn't want to take that shot. It's like, oh, he sees his child flashing in front of his eyes. We once asked an American fighter pilot in Vietnam. He was flying a fighter bomber or something, a Phantom probably, which can be a fighter as well, of course, if you remember that, to put a 20mm gun on it, which you forgot. I asked him, what do you feel when you drop these bombs on the civilians? He said, a slight jolt, that's all. Bombs fall and aircraft's lighter. Great answer, sir. I really expect that. I respect that answer. Yeah. We don't like these liberals. We don't like them. Good snipers feel nothing when they pull that trigger. They just pull that trigger, they shoot that guy down. They know it's not done without reason. It's not like the Israeli army will shoot people who protest in Palestine behind a fence. They shoot them in the left knee at a great distance, and then they high-five themselves and they get away with it. I must tell you, if we in the apartheid police ever did that, we would be in jail. Yeah. Not only you who pulled the trigger, your sergeant and the lieutenant and his commander. Yeah, all of them would be in jail. There's no justification for that type of thing, guys. Nothing whatsoever. It did not constitute a threat to you. They're behind the wire. They're not stopping you, they're not armed, they're not doing anything, you shoot them in the left knee. Yeah, you think I'm lying? No, go and do some research, guys. Please don't just take my word here. I mean, if I say something which you find shocking, please just research it a bit, you know. But let me say this to you. If I have any inclination that you will not pull that trigger, I know I'm repeating myself, you're gone. You're out of a unit, I don't want to know you. Give me your rifle and just get lost. I don't want you. Because when snipers are deployed, and I'm not talking the shite which are deployed with the Israeli army to shoot people in the left knee. No, I'm talking about genuine special forces operations or hostage rescue, or where you attack somebody. Go and read Codename Elise, where you use gliders and you come in. And as the glider is coming in, you make sure that the guards standing there are eliminated if they are killed right there, or you're shooting a suicide bomber, whatever. I expect them to pull the trigger and I expect them to eat whatever they aim at. And that's just it. There's nothing further to say about it. That's just the way it is. But we speak about snipers quite a bit in the books. So anyway, let's talk about something which is known as Skyhook. Now, I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie of John Wayne, The Green Berets. If you haven't seen it, go and look at it. It's actually quite a great movie. Of course, it was the wrong movie for the time. If that movie came out in the 1980s, it would have been a massive hit. But during the Vietnam time, you know, people were very negative about the war for every reason in the book. Because what the hell were you doing there? Huh? Oh, domino theory. Oh yeah, of course. If Vietnam fails, then it will be Thailand, then it will be Malaysia, then it will be... really? Did that work like that? No, this is bullshit. This is nonsense. Did Kennedy try to get out of Vietnam before he was murdered? Yes. Eisenhower, did he want to be in Vietnam? Only with special forces? Yes. So what happened? Lyndon B. Johnson. Hey, LBJ, how many babies did you kill today? Yeah, you old hippies, do you remember that? But then the Vietnam War could have ended quite early. And then came the election, Nixon. And what did Nixon do? Sent a message to the North Vietnamese and said to them, guys, don't make a deal with these people right now, you know, with the Paris Accord. Don't do that, I'll give you a better deal. Tell me, how many American servicemen and women died because of that treachery? How many? Well, every one of you should tell me that about 58,000 of you died. Yes, how many French died before you? Oh, you don't know. Okay, about 95,000. How many Vietnamese died? More than 1 million. Okay. They say about 57,000, 57,000 extra US service people died because of Nixon screwing the Paris Accords just so that he can, you know, become president. Yeah, wonderful leaders you have. Fantastic. But anyway, in that movie, The Green Berets, as I say, it's a good movie of John Wayne. They actually use what is known as a Skyhook system. It is something which is very fascinating. Basically, what they have is a big balloon. This balloon is filled with helium gas, and it's attached to a long rope, very, very long rope, which is normally made of nylon so that it can really stretch us a bit. And then it goes up in the air. You are tied down. You down there on the ground level, and into an harness, like a parachute harness, and the rope is attached here behind your neck. And then you hang forward so you don't break your bloody neck when you go up there about 5 Gs. Then comes a Hercules or one of the aircraft. It's got like a V-shape booms sticking out of it. And here's the rope now. It comes, it picks up the rope. So guess what happens? It catches the rope. And then it drags this rope along. And so is you. At some stage where the rope's going to snatch you up, you're going to go up. And then you go. And because of the speed, you will come up. So you'll be level 2. And hopefully this aircraft then will be able to pull you into the aircraft, and that's it. That's how you recover agents. Where did they use that first? The CIA came up with that. There was a guy called Fulton something. I describe it in the book and other books as well. How it works, I think we did that very close to China in one of those, Mongolia. I believe it's in Mongolia where they tried this first, which of course is a place without trees. So you could do it quite easily there. In Vietnam, it was a bit more difficult. Okay, so you think this can be done from, say, a boat? Let's say like a ski boat in the middle of a Mozambican channel, perhaps? You think that's possible? Well, in this book, this is exactly actually what they tried. So they attached for Geelslang there, who's quite a big guy, and they attached the youngest Israeli triplet, Rebecca C. That is a code name. Obviously, they have other names, all right, but that's what we call it in the books. Brilliant people, really, really fascinating, wonderful people. I actually really liked them, and they decided they're going to test the system. So the two of them is attached, and not onto each other, but staggered. So like one would be here, and the other one would be slightly below. This is at night, so they have their infrared strobes on, and the rope also have infrared strobes every about 75 meters, I think, or was it 50 meters? I can't remember anymore. Anyway, this thing is activated, it goes up, the C-130 comes, and it hooks in. Yeah, so we tested that concept, and yeah, it works. It works. What happens if a rope breaks? Well, we go to your widow and say to her, we're sorry. What else? You did, man. There's no other way to put it. You did. We're also in a special suit, by the way, over which your parachute harness and things is, which is attached to. You also will have, if you do it over water, your rescue gear plus your inflatable, things like that. But really, if that thing breaks, you don't have much of a chance unless you're wearing a small civilian type of free-fall parachute. Perhaps you can get loose in and get down to earth safely. But normally we did. Yeah, yeah. It is actually a world where you do take chances, but it's not as risky as it sounds. It is really normally tested. Normally it is worked out completely. I mean, they do things in a certain way for a certain reason. Why in this warehouse, for instance, after they stolen what they wanted, confiscated, sorry, which they wanted to do, Angelique is placing the demolition charges. And she's got a certain way of reading this. And the way is very, very good. And it's explained in the book and in other books as well, because he always used the same method. And she loved that method. She probably still does. And you will see there that she cannot be hurried along. She would be like, this is how she does it. And at the end of story, and then she would blow it. If you look at legacy conversation, once again, we speak to a Special Forces demolition fellow called SB Foree, Skulk Foree, great friend of mine from first one reconnaissance regiment, commando, then regiment. And he tells his life story in Afrikaans and English. Two series, one Afrikaans, one English. And he describes how they blew up a bridge. And it's in his book as well, which we wrote. Sierra Whiskey, obviously that stands for SVS, Sierra Whiskey. It can also stand for Southwest, which is Southwest, which is the old name of Namibia. Sierra Whiskey, 10 years in South African Special Forces. Yeah, we wrote that book, great book. You can get hold of that book, read it, because that's where he described how they blew the Gerald Bridge. And also in his videos, he described exactly how they did it. And it becomes very technical. He would say they wouldn't use this, or you wouldn't use that. They would use this and this and this. Very interesting. But again, that book was written, and he came on legacy after we wrote these books. So we, yeah, we know something about demolitions. It's not a big deal. Righto, if you also want to know more about demolitions, especially in the shadows in the spy world, and that's more to kill people than anything else, please have a look at Codename Crocodile. It will explain to you exactly how to, well, it looks like how it was done in the past. I didn't want to give too much away, but it's still very, very fascinating. Anyway, this book, July 27, it is available in hardcover, softcover, Kindle, as well as audio. It's on Amazon. Thank you guys for listening here. God bless. Until we meet again.